Did she? Okay. I would like to. I apologize for our lateness, but it was all business, I assure you. So I would like to call this meeting to order and ask you to stand with us for the national anthem.
We would like to acknowledge
that we are here today
on the traditional territory
of the Mississaugas of the New Cred First Nation.
Nous tenons à reconnaître que
nous sommes sur le territoire traditionnel des Mississaugas de la Première Nation de New Credit.
Please be seated. So I don't have any additions to the agenda tonight. That's the good thing. I know that Trustee Singh is not with us this evening. I'd also like to recognize Trustee-elect Benjamin, who's in the audience tonight. Congratulations again and welcome. I'd also like to acknowledge Beryl Ford, who is a former chair and trustee of the board, and Jeff White, who is a former trustee of the board as well. And so they're here to cheer us on tonight, I think. So thank you and welcome. As I said, I don't have any additions, so would someone move the agenda as presented? Trustee Cameron, seconded by Trustee Williams. All those in favor? Carried. We do not have any special presentations. Pardon me? Oh, I know, yeah. Oh, I know, and you. Sorry. Trustee Lawton.
Just trying to get it right, Jerry.
Yeah, I know.
The last one.
It just takes practice. Takes practice.
Excuse me, Chair McDougall, but we do have a special presentation. It's an important message with which we will begin this meeting.
Okay. Ah, that's sweet.
Congratulations on your last board meeting!
Those are two of my guys, that's for sure. Thank you for that. Also, Director Joshua has a message as well.
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know, I have to get that on now.
Thank you. As you know, we've recently heard from community members about concerns they have over the raising of the Pride flag during the month of June. You'll recall that on May 22nd, 2018, the board discussed and approved a trustee motion to revise Policy 62, flag raising, with respect to the raising of Pride, Indigenous, and other flags at Peel board sites. The board undertook a thorough process to gather and consider all aspects of the request before making a decision. Administration researched the practices of other school boards as well as the local and provincial governments. The findings were reviewed and discussed at a trustee information session prior to the tabling of the motion. The raising of the pride flag is part of the board's commitment to provide and maintain safe and healthy environments conducive to learning and working for all, as outlined in our Equity and Inclusion Education Policy number 54. The policy affects all areas of the board's programs, guidelines, and practices, ranging from curriculum and assessment to religious accommodation, creating a welcoming school environment and preventing discrimination and harassment. The Peel Board recognizes that religious diversity represented in its students, staff, and parents and stakeholder communities. We acknowledge and respect an individual's right to practice or not practice a religion and their values. While we work to create a school system free from religious discrimination, this freedom is not absolute. This means that one individual's human rights do not supersede another's. The board will not endorse values or conduct in schools or work sites, will not endorse values or conduct in schools or work sites that may put the human rights and freedoms, public safety, or the health and well-being of others at risk. Exposure to and celebration of diversity is not about indoctrination or violation of human rights. It's about making sure all students and staff feel welcome and included. In Peel, the expectation is that all schools have classroom discussions and activities that build a climate of inclusion and safety. Some examples of these activities include putting up posters in schools for major holy days like Christmas, Ramadan, and Diwali, and celebrating Black History Month and Asian Heritage Month, and the raising of pride and Indigenous flags. These equity and inclusion activities are not an affirmation of any particular faith or identity, but rather a demonstration that our schools are safe, inclusive, and welcoming environments where all students, staff, and families are accepted and supported. When students learn about identities based on race, gender, religion, or creed, sexuality, ability, or ethnicity through narrative, celebration, or inquiry, it is a reflection of student voice and an invitation to learning that is beneficial for students. While some students and families might not always be familiar with or understand different identities, it is important that we provide students with the opportunity to learn, ask questions, reflect, and grow through these experiences. Peel schools do not seek parent-guardian permission for any work in the school or classroom that is about inclusion because it's embedded in everything we do. We do not provide religious accommodation for work in the classroom that is about inclusion, whatever form that inclusion may take, based on any of the protected grounds in the Human Rights Code. Although a parent can choose to keep their child at home upon learning about an inclusive activity, we hope that the learning opportunity is not missed. Where a parent can provide objective evidence of interference with sincerely held creedal beliefs, the board's guidelines and procedures for religious accommodation may be engaged. Where a matter requires the balancing of competing human rights, in other words, where individuals' human rights clash or contest with one another, the balancing is only required where specific rights are actually engaged and not interests or preferences. We do not require schools to inform parents of such activities as they could happen at any time during the school year. We want all students to be part of activities and discussions that build respect and understanding and promote inclusion and safety. This information is intended to provide clarity on the raising of the pride flag and our commitment to providing safe, respectful, and equitable environments for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Joshua. I do want to mention that Trustee Brad McDonald is here streaming in from Calgary. Are you Calgary? Yes, he's in Calgary. And there's a few empty seats here that are usually our superintendents, and they're off giving some very good news to some of our candidates who were successful in our promotion process. So, just to let you know where they are. So, are there any declarations of conflict of interest? Seeing none. Going to section 3. 3.1 is the Special Education Advisory Committee of October 16th. 3.2, the regular meeting of the board, November 13th. 3, that's it. They're here for both receipt and approval. Trustee Parker, you put them on the floor. Thank you. Is there any comments or questions with regard to section 3? Seeing none. Seconded by Trustee Andrews. All those in favor? Carried. Are there any written questions, notices of motion, or petitions from trustees? Seeing none, then we'll move on to special section 6. It is for receipt. We have 6.1, which are retirements, and 6.2, which is Peel Custodial Maintenance Workers Appreciation Day, November 30th. I'll ask if trustees want to speak to anything in this section, but on behalf of trustees, I want to acknowledge November 30th. I am fortunate to represent many schools in the South that are a little bit older. They have a lot more tradition and legacy, but at the same time, they're much harder to keep spotless. And I am always, always so impressed when I go into my schools and see how clean and tidy and gleaming these schools are. So that is our custodial and maintenance workers. And so we certainly acknowledge their hard work and their contribution to student success and congratulate them. Trustee Kay McDonald.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I just wanted to also add that the custodial staff and the maintenance workers do more than just clean the schools too. They are a vital part of the community. They have good relationships with kids. They actually, in some schools that some of my schools, they actually work with clubs. They have different activities that are part of the schools, and they're very vital and important part of school community. And I appreciate what they do each and every day to make sure that all kids are safe and the working environment, because it's also very important that the third teacher classroom environment is impeccable and active.
Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, we're doing some maintenance and repairs right now from that sound there. Either that or we have a very ambitious woodpecker. I'm not sure. I did. All those in favor? Carried. We do not have any delegations this evening, but we will move on to 8, old business. There is a response to the delegation of Leslie Novak from the last meeting that was regarding student transportation. Whose parent or who's yours? Trustee Cameron, will you put it on the floor, please?
I will.
Great. Seconded by Trustee Lawton. Do you have a comment or appreciate? Okay. All those in favor of 8.1? Carried. I know, but deep there. Anyway, 8.2 is the draft letter from the chair to the Minister of Education regarding parents reaching out grants. I appreciate this letter very much. I think it captures what we suggested last board meeting, and staff have prepared this for us. Trustee Green, would you like to put that on the floor?
I would love.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. Trustee Nurse, would you like to second it? Are there any comments or questions with regard to this? I'm sure they'll just pop right to it. All those in favor? Carried. 8. We're moving on to 9. 9.1 is the recommendations of the Special Education Advisory Committee, and there's information for receipts, and this is for October 16th. Trustee Lawton, put that on the floor. Thank you. Trustee DeCruz, will you second that? All those in favor? Carried. 9.2 are the recommendations of the Audit Committee. There are 2 recommendations here and one a report for information. Trustee Lawton, will you put those on the floor? Thank you. Seconded by Trustee Parker. Are there any questions or comments regarding the consolidated financial statements and the audit report to the Ministry of Education for last year? Seeing none, thank you very much for this work. All those in favor? Carried. 9.3 5 is a schedule of financial reports to the board, and this simply will tell you when to expect those in the coming year, which is always good to know. It's here for receipt. Trustee Williams, you put it on the floor, seconded by Trustee DeCruz. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. 9.6 is the working fund reserve transfers for 2017-18. Would someone like to spit? I know we've been over this before as a board, but Controller Aladache, Charles, would you like to speak to any of this, or is it Associate Director Joe?
To you, Madam Chair, as part of the 2017 year-end process, there are a number of recommendations in this report. The first recommendation is regarding the transfer of funds to the working fund reserve. And the second recommendation is the transfer of funds to a dedicated working fund reserve of appropriated accumulated surplus. As part of the second recommendation, there are 5 parts to that. The first part is the transfer of funds related to the school budgets. And the second recommendation, the second part of the second recommendation is related to the rollover of the operational funds. The third part is related to the pay increase for our DECE staff for the 17-18 year, for 18-19 year. And the fourth part of that recommendation is related to the additional 50 TAs which were approved by the board on October 23rd this year. And the last part of the second recommendation is related to the use of the solar revenue to improve the learning common space, as well as to provide cooling centers at some of our schools. The third recommendation in this report is to transfer the funds into a dedicated working fund reserve and to set aside $4 million for the replacement or upgrade of our critical business systems. And the fourth recommendation, Madam Chair, in this report is the transfer of funds into dedicated capital reserve, and this is related to an over-expenditure, a capital over-expenditure for Gene Augustine. And the last recommendation in the report is simply to allow staff to use the funds which were recommended in the second recommendation in this report, and use those funds to offset any operational costs in 2018-19 school year. So, Madam Chair, I can respond to any questions.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Controller Aladache, Charles, and your department for the very responsible handling of our money in Peel Board. We take great pride in the fact that we balance our budgets, but we also serve as many needs as possible within our student community. And this is a money management kind of process report. So it's good to know that we have that ability to do that. I know on behalf of the trustees, I know we're all pleased about that we can meet needs and we have some flexibility and we can move some money around to the right places. So again, you're right, we need to on this to those ears in Ontario, in the government, but at the same time, I think we're very responsible with our spending, and it's always student focused. So thank you very much, Associate Director Gill. I don't think I have moved or seconded this, so Trustee Cameron would like to do that. Trustee Green would like to second it. All those in favor? Thank you. Just so you know, Trustee Brad McDonald is still with us. He can hear us, we just can't see him. And he was doing the drilling sound or something, and that was what that was all about. So we'll make sure that he has an opportunity to text us if he has a question. Right, Brad? Right, Brad. All right, so 9.7, let's move on. If I can take you back 2 weeks to a bit of a muddle, we agreed that we would rescind the resolution number 18-188. And you can see here from the recommendation that I know that this board is in favor of simply, it was the date that we were debating and the process at the time. And so the rescission motion is here. I haven't set this up, but yeah, Trustee Nurse would like to put it on the floor. Who would like to second this? Okay, Trustee Williams, I know you had some concerns last year. So what's going to happen here is when we rescind this, we aren't rescinding the original motion that speaks about the appointment of 8 trustees to an Integrity Commission Selection Committee. We're rescinding the date because we believe that we will have trouble meeting it. So the rescission motion is on the floor. Are there any questions or comments regarding what you're voting on? Seeing none, all those in favor of rescission? I need 2/3. That's great. Okay, now I am going to allow someone to put a new motion on the floor that speaks to a date, if this board wishes to add a date. And I'm going to defer to Vice Chair Nurse. It was your original motion, and so I know that your intent was to ensure that this happens in a timely manner. But would you be prepared to propose another date? Yes?
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair, and absolutely I would be happy to propose a new date. Initially, I was thinking of the end of January, but given we've got the winter break in between, I think that makes it very difficult, not just for the board to do interviews, but actually for individuals to prepare themselves for the interviews. So I'm going to propose, is it February 28th or 29th? Are we a week here?
It's the 28th.
And then February 28th.
Okay, February 28th, 2019.
And that would be, if we use intention again, the intended start date of no later than February 28th.
So with the intended engagement date of no later than February 28th, 2019. Would someone like to second that motion? Trustee Williams will second that motion. So everybody understands the intent of that motion. Would anyone like to speak to that motion? Of the dates. So I believe you'll be able to accomplish this, and considering the new board and winter break and all of the things I know that goes into settling in as in a new term. So this was so much more civilized than last meeting. See, we learned. Continuous improvement. All those in favor? Carried. 9.8 is the, oh no, that's not. That was last meeting, and I had that for, oh no, it is. No, it is. Okay, 9.8. Yes, there's a notice of the appointment of the trustees to the Integrity Commissioner selection. Number 1 is that we establish one, and number 2, that we appoint 8 trustees to the Integrity Commissioner Selection Committee. And this will go to, help me, December, what's the next board meeting? December 11th. So the new board will be included in this selection, in the selection of 8 trustees. Oh, it's on, you're doing that on December 3rd? Okay, see, I'm out of the loop already. So no, this is going to be done, oh, I know why. Okay, it's on, yes, it's on your, part of your ad hoc committees. So it will be done December 3rd. Got it. And if any trustees, new trustees need to understand it, I'm sure it will be explained by our very competent new chair of the board. So the notice is here, moved by Trustee Andrews, seconded by Trustee K. McDonald. All those in favor? Carried. All right, 12.1. The OPSBA Connects, November 19th, on the floor from Trustee Crocker, seconded by Trustee Lawton. All those in favor? Carried. 14.1 is a response to the questions asked by Trustee Crocker at the November 13th board meeting. Trustee Crocker, would you like to put these on the floor? Would you like to speak to them?
Thank you, Chair. I would briefly, and through you to give my thanks to Controller Chung for all his work on this. He's kept me apprised of how things are going on the particular runs here and the situation in various schools. So I appreciate his hard work and his diligence and that of his staff in this regard. And I assure him that I will continue to forward emails to him from concerned citizens. I have another one here. I have a constituent who is tracking school buses that do not put their flashing lights on or extend their arms. And he's copied me information about which bus company and all that. So now that Trustee McDonald and I figured out how to unlock my email on my phone, I can forward you the latest post haste.
Thank you. Thank you. Seconded by Vice Chair. You seconded it? Great. Any other comments? All those in favor? It's carried. Are there any? Hang on. Are there any reports from trustee representatives on councils or associations? Trustee Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just want to, as last board meeting, we talked about transportation. We've been talking about transportation for some time now in the terms of the lane and the unsatisfactory service that we have been receiving. So we did have a meeting, and there is the stopper manager was able to present us with a report that show improvement, and not only show improvement, show where that bus company have been fined and dock pay for not performing up to standard. However, there is still a couple of areas that there is no assigned drivers all the time, but working diligently to ensure that drivers are assigned to those routes. In the meantime, myself and Controller Tom and Associate Director Gail are sitting on top of them and are pushing hard to make sure that this doesn't linger on too much longer. We did voice the frustration of my colleagues to stop her and where we sit and what we think should be done. And I believe that the message has been heard, and I need to really say congratulations to the assistant manager who really understand our concern and are taking steps to address those concerns. If anything changed, I will bring this board up to date and what else is happening, what's taking place. I have one report. There's a minor change need to be made, and as soon as I receive the change that is made, I will share that with the board. In terms of the number, one of the key things that was that trustee has also raised, and I think it was Trustee McDonald who raised that, in terms of the time when reported and bus lateness, that was inaccurate, and there's a process in place that has been worked on now that will able to through stopper will able to know whether or not the bus company are being truthful about that. One of the things that we pushed hard for at that meeting is that it's time that stopper look at a hop that able to provide all these information that parents can easily well download on their phone, and that will tell parents exactly, and I think it was Associate Director Gill who mentioned something like Uber, where we can track and see where the buses are. We heard that there is nothing at the moment for that, but the team from the ministry that came out and did the evaluation is they presently have a technical team that is looking at that, and we are hoping that that will come sooner than later. If that should happen, I would love to bring a report to this board, because I think, as Associate Director Gill said, I think the time that we're in and the ability of technology to keep us informed, this is the way to go. So we will keep on top, and whatever we can do to push this, to make sure this happens, because I think this will help not only the board, but also help parents. So that's my report for now, and I thank you, and again, thank you for, to Associate Director Gill and Controller Tom, for really supporting the hidden, we're not hidden over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? I see none. So next is question period, comments and questions. And as all of you know that are here, this is our last board meeting of the term. And there are 4 of us who will not be returning to the board. We're a very fortunate board in that everyone else who ran for re-election was elected. And I think that is an excellent indicator of what a great board we have and how committed and dedicated our trustees are. So I certainly want to give everybody an opportunity to say a little something because it is an important time for all of us who work in public education. But I'd like to give those that are leaving the first shot at this because certainly there's a lot of experience from this board that won't be returning, but will be keenly watching what's going on. So Mr. Williams, Trustee Williams, I'm going to give you the opportunity to say a few words or whatever it is you wish. I doubt if it's a question. Is it?
No, it's not a question. Thank you, Madam Chair. It is certainly an honor and a privilege for me to serve this board for the past 21 years, and it's with mixed emotion that I'm leaving. I certainly cherish the friendship, the camaraderie, and what that we share over the years. I happen to work with some of the most amazing individuals, administrators, trustees, past and present, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the friendship and the camaraderie that we share, and for your work on behalf of students and parents over the years. I so happen to travel the province and met and networked with various boards from across the province. And Peel is always seen as the greatest board. I'm always asked, how is Peel dealing with these issues? And so Peel is known across, not only across the province, but across the country as a whole, and recognized for the work that we do. And I think it's safe, very safe to say that this board is the best board in the province, and likely across North America, because I happen to travel to the States on many occasions, different areas, the American School Board Association, and if we're going to compare what we do in Peel and how we do it with how they do things over in the state, there's no comparison. So I want to say thanks again to my constituency who have elected me on 6 consecutive occasions to serve them. My family who have supported me over the years, mainly my wife. Without her support, I would not be able to serve this board the way I do and my constituents. And looking back in retrospect, when among all the senior admin in this board, I think, like I always say to Randy, right? Randy, you will be the last one standing, because of all the administrators that were at the board when I started here, Randy is the only one that's been the original administrator. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your support, and we'll be keeping an eye on the board, because I know that this board, as it is, we are leaving, both trustee Singh, Chair McDougall, and Vice Chair Nurse, we are leaving the board in good standing, relatively good standing, and I know that we have a lot of capable administrators under the leadership of Director Joshua, who will make sure that this board integrity will continue to be what it is now. And if not, I can promise you that I will be back in 4 years. Just to ensure, and I'm sure that Trustee Chair McDougall will agree with me, and Vice Chair Nurse, that if the board is getting out of hand, we will be back to straight things.
Well, I'm not sure I want to be quoted on that, anyways, but I'll vote for you for sure.
Yeah, and I voted. So once again, thanks for all your support, and I look forward to, I should say that all my 5 kids have gone through this board. It's a wonderful board, and they're all doing well for themselves, and so, you know, I have to be thankful to this board for what it has done to my family. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Vice Chair next.
The chair says I'm next, so I must go next. How do you follow Trustee Williams? He has echoed so many of my thoughts and comments. And actually, Trustee Williams, I'm pointing a finger at you, because when I started at the board, he was one of my mentors. The other one, Beryl Ford, is in the audience. Thank you so much for coming, Beryl. I think you wanted to make sure I was actually going. So you're up there just to, kind of make note of that. But Trustee Williams told me, when you're in the political realm, don't come in expecting to make friends. And he was absolutely incorrect. 100%. Because in the 12 years that I've served as a trustee representing first 2, 9, and 10 in Brampton, then 2 and 6, that's all I made for friends, good relationships, which makes sense because, as I've said so many times, public education should run like a family. Doesn't mean we always agree, because let's be honest, families don't always agree. But we should be able to function as a family because we're taking care of people's most precious possessions, the children. So I want to thank this board for doing exactly that. For so many years before me, I have no doubt they'll do it after me. I'm grateful for what you've done for my own children. They were 3 and 5 when I started this. Now my son is this big mountain of beard, which scares the heck out of me on a regular basis. But they've grown up in Peel, and I've seen the fabulous work teachers, principals, vice principals, superintendents, everybody has had pouring into the lives as myself and my husband has. It's been a privilege serving on this board. And I'm hoping, I'm praying that we will continue to stay as a tight, cohesive unit, because I believe the next couple of years are going to be difficult ones for public education. I think the only way this board will continue to do great work is if we continue to function as a cohesive, tight unit family. So I want to thank the Chair McDougall for keeping us straight for all these years, and for my colleagues for the amazing conversations, discussions, arguments that we've had. But I can honestly say that we did it always at the center, children, because that's what we're here for, first and foremost. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Singh is not here today, but he has been elected to the Brampton City Council, so he will go on and spread his wisdom in that domain. Len, I'm wondering if you have my video. I know, I do things a little differently. And if you would play that, that pretty much speaks for itself.
Hi, I'm Janet McDougall.
Short. Yep, that's me. I didn't remember.
One second.
Technology is such a wonderful thing. effectiveness. It's a tool for learning. I can move on to other trustees.
It's coming.
It's coming, okay.
I'm Janet McDougall. I've had the pleasure of being a public school trustee for 30 years and chair of the Peel District School Board for the last 20 consecutive years. How that happened and where that time went is still a mystery to me. You know what they say, life happens while you're busy making plans. Over the decades, I've learned to be flexible and problem solve challenges that came as the Peel region evolved. I learned to listen with the intent to understand and put myself in other people's shoes. Never assuming anything, understanding that everyone has a story that influences their attitude and their actions. Best of all, I've learned open-minded curiosity. And all of you have supported me in our never-ending journey for continuous improvement. For this personal support and collaboration, I am forever grateful. I learned an unwavering respect for all of you who work in education. The difference between you and employees of other organizations is the incredible purpose that you find in your work. Every day, your actions, your dedication has a direct impact on students and their future. Every one of you contributes to our all-important mission to inspire success, confidence, and hope in every student. As I leave the Peel Board, I wanted to tell you how much you have influenced my life and my happiness. I found goodness in all of you and your commitment to the Peel family. Who once said, how lucky am I to have had something that made saying goodbye so difficult. Thanks to all of you. My very best wishes for your future health and happiness.
I'm going to move around the table now, and I know Trustee DeCruz has her, in error, I'm sure, has her button pushed, because I'm going to do it in order. I'm going to ask Trustee, because I can still do this, Chongpin, if you have a comment or question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of Laura and I, we'd like to thank the 4 outgoing trustees, Trustee Singh, Trustee Williams, Vice Chair Nurse, and Chair McDougall, for your tireless work at the board and commitment to both students' well-being and success. You have left a lifelong mark on the students of this board, and we are so very thankful for the legacy that you've left on the board. We'd also like to thank you for giving us such a welcoming and easy transition into our roles as student trustees. As for our 8 wonderful re-elected trustees, we congratulate you once again. We truly cannot wait to start a new journey together with the newly elected trustees, who we'd also like to acknowledge and thank for your commitment to joining our family of educators. Thank you.
Thank you. And are you speaking on behalf? Okay. Do you have something to say? Absolutely, if you want. No time like the present.
For you, Madam Chair?
Yes.
All right,
This is
I'd
trustee.
just like to say, yeah,
Or
me and
Stanley.
me and Creek have only been in our role for a couple of months, but I just want to say that it's been wonderful getting to know all of you. You've all been incredible mentors, and for those of you who are not getting reelected, I just want to wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors. And I'm sure me and Creek are both looking forward to continuing to work with everyone who's getting reelected and beginning to work with all those who are just newly elected. So thank you so much for the wonderful past few months.
Thank you. Trustee DeCruz.
Thank you. And I also like to do things a bit differently. So this one is
for all of you. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it's like,
Got to turn that. Put it on your speaker.
what? Put up your speaker. This is this.
Come on, another one. Yeah, that's right. Let's turn on our light.
Okay. I think you got it.
We get it.
All right.
Trustee Andrews.
Okay, I don't have a song. But I just want to say that it's been an honor to work with Trustee Williams, Trustee Singh, who is not here, but will do great things at the city level, I'm sure. Vice Chair Nurse and Chair McDougall. We've all had our opportunities to, at our different events and things like that, and I really enjoyed our trustee-only event that we had when we went out for dinner, and it was a really good opportunity for all of us to get together and, and share our thoughts and good wishes. So I'd like to wish you all the best in your next journey or chapter in life, as they say, and I know whatever you do, you will do it well, and you will be missed here at the board. And I know this is not goodbye, because I know that you will all be keeping tabs on us and keeping an eye on us as we move forward. And then I just wanted to say that I feel very privileged to be re-elected to the position of trustee. And I look forward to working with our new board and our newly elected trustees to do what we're here to do, and that's to work with what's in the best interest of our students.
Thank you. Trustee Lawton, would you have anything to tell me or them? Or us?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. How can we let these trustees go? This room will never be the same as we miss hearing these four names. We don't like it, but we get Harpreet Singh. City Council appears to be his thing. Your lasting contribution of a game, Kabaddi, will always be linked to your name.
Good girl.
And what will we do without our nurse, whose every decision puts students first? And how she loved to use her gavel, making sure in committee didn't unravel. Trustee Williams, a gentleman, but always sharp, after 21 years, has made such a strong mark. Students and staff have fared so well, as the high standards he set never fell. Janet McDougall believes in public education, as evidenced by her 30 years of dedication. Come on, people. There can be no doubt. What's best for kids is what we're all about. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, we are sad to see you go. On behalf of many thousands of kids, we'll do our best to honor all you did. And when we think we can't cope, we'll remember you gave us success, confidence, and hope.
Thank you. I know why you were off for that week last night. Okay, so beat this one, Mr. Cameron.
And more, much more than this. Madam Chair, just before I get to comment on saying farewell to our four colleagues, may I just add a couple of comments?
Sure.
Have to do with schools, not a bad topic. I brought money, I'm so behind. So,
Yeah, there are a few people behind, by the way.
so what happens here, if you say school name while you're at the microphone, it costs you $1, but it's worth it in order to shed the light on some of the wonderful programs we have. On November 14th, over 250 female students ranging from grades 6 to 8 from across 15 elementary and middle schools
took part in Women Impacting Trades, a conference designed to raise awareness and increase interest among females about the opportunities available in the skilled trades. The conference was hosted at WCSS. It's not really saying the name, is it? It's West Credit Secondary School, home of the first program of its kind in the Peel region, the Regional Skilled Trades. Students had the opportunity to tour West Credit's technological shops and get hands-on experience in many different skilled trades sectors, including hospitality, transportation, technology, construction, hairstyling and aesthetics, and others. This program is open to all students entering grade 9 in September 2019. Applicants for the Regional Skilled Trades program and all of the boards secondary school regional learning choices programs close on November 28th at 3 p.m. Madam Chair, that's tomorrow. Registration is done online. On November 21st, Trustee Crocker and I visited West Credit Secondary School to observe and join in their Try a Trade Day. The school's feeder schools were invited to bring their grade 7 and 8 interested boys and girls for a day of learning about each of the options. We followed a couple of groups and we were accompanied by Principal Carissa Hill, who graciously gave us her time. West Credit Secondary School students were assigned to lead the groups, and the leadership opportunities were plentiful for this day to try a trade. I'd just like to say thank you to all of the staff at the school, our teachers, our TAs, our admin, and the office team for their good work to bring this program to fruition. And thank you to our administration and staff and curriculum for giving this wonderful program idea your support. Madam Chair, this strikes for me at my heart because I have a daughter who's in a PhD program in the world of science because of a grade 7 teacher at her school who taught her back then when the theme was mostly that boys would be scientists. But this grade 7 teacher, who I will always be indebted to her, took her along with a number of other young girls and taught them that girls could be scientists too. And so at a PhD level later, here we are as a result of that encouragement. I think of all of these students who are going to meet amazing teachers at West Credit who will encourage them, boys and girls, at a young age to think about the trades as a very viable option in their studies. Madam Chair, if I could, how much do I owe?
Well, you owe two needs, but the 20 will do.
I'm not sure if math was your favorite subject. Madam Chair, I too would like to say thank you, congratulations and best wishes to our 4 outgoing trustees. I would like to start with Trustee Williams, who in my first year of an 8-year tenure so far, we had a delegation come before us from a parent somewhere at a school in Mississauga. It was Trustee Williams' area, and she was asking for something to for trustees that would be voting or dealing with commenting on busing issue, a safety issue in her area. And I really felt uncomfortable making comment about something I had no geographical idea where this was. So I asked Trustee Williams if he would meet me and take me for a tour of the school. And not only was that an awesome way to learn some of the geography that I needed to be a part of, but also I had a chance to meet the man behind the title. And spending time with Trustee Williams over the next hour and a bit really helped me to understand who he was. I always found, I've said this to you personally, Rick, that your calm demeanor is something that I will never ever forget. And I feel myself as someone who has lots of energy, it's calming down immediately listening to you talk. So thank you for that calming effect and for your wonderful contribution. And Vice Chair Nurse, I cannot tell you, ladies and gentlemen, how many times I've called Suzanne Nurse on the phone on my way to anywhere and needing some help. And never, ever did I not either get connected or get a call back almost immediately. And I appreciated that help. I think for you, you do understand if somebody's calling you, they need your help. And that's a foundation for you to respond so quickly. Chair McDougall, I could say the same thing about you for all the conversations we have had as well. What I would say to both of you is thank you for your friendship, thank you for your mentorship, and thank you for your leadership. And for Trustee Singh, he and I shared a large portion of our French immersion classes at Humberview Secondary School where we needed to help those children access those, another $1. I must think about this voice. So if we work together in order to help those students access a program that is today and just incredibly bountiful and alive. And so on behalf of the Cameron family, thank you to the four of you and best wishes for a wonderful time moving forward.
Thank you, Trustee Cameron. Trustee Crocker. Good chair.
Thank you, Chair. When I sat down at my place at the beginning of the meeting, there was a wonderful gift waiting for me. A photograph of myself. and some other people. I think it's the only focus, to show you what clever people we have in our communications department. It's the only photograph in existence in which both Chairman McDougall and myself are smiling. It shows the other 7 trustees who have been re-elected and with whom I look forward to another 4 years together. And 3 other heroic figures, Chair McDougall, Vice Chair Nurse, and my hero, Rick Williams. Thank you for the grace and the integrity which you brought to this job. And just a little reminder of the presence of Beryl Ford and Jeff White in this room are all the evidence we need that you can check out, but you can never leave.
You want to sing that, or you just...
No, really, it's the Hank Williams songbook with me, and it's my copy.
No, okay. Or Hotel California. Trustee McDonald.
Thank you. Well, I was going to open by saying people never retire. So I know we see you guys around more, but for me, it's unbelievable that 4 years have flown by so quickly. It seems like just yesterday I was with a 1-year-old door knocking. She couldn't even speak yet. Every time you go to the door, knock, knock, she tried to imitate the sound. And I know I got a lot of votes just based on the cute factor with my kids, the little kids just knocking away. And it's like, wow, where does the time go? And I must say, I've truly enjoyed my first 4 years here. Especially, it's such a privilege to work in something that you absolutely enjoy and you believe in. So, all monies aside, it's truly just a labor of love, and it's so amazing to be surrounded by such brilliant people. Every day, the superintendents, the senior team, you guys amaze me with your depth of knowledge, especially as a new trustee, when you just think you have this most brilliant idea and then you talk about 10 other scenarios why it's probably not the best idea ever. And the system is just so vast, and I think it's so important to spread the word of all the research and work that goes into making sure that kids are the best that they can be. And I remember from my first was Ted Byers. I will always have a special place in my heart. His patience, he is something like you, like just the most calmest individual next to my husband. And, every time I get so excited something and Ted just calms me, thank you for sharing, Kathy. And he was the most diplomatic, just wonderful experience. I met so many wonderful people along the way. And, I truly feel blessed to be working on behalf of children. I look forward to working with the new board, and thank you, Suzanne, for coming out. I'm really excited, and I know we do have I anticipate some difficult decisions to make, especially in the area of equity and inclusion. And, I think that it's so important, and there's a lot of work that we need to do as a board, and I'm hoping together we will be able to move forward. I wish God's richest blessing to all the trustees that are leaving, and especially Harper, he's not here. But, I'm truly going to miss him. It's so funny. It's like, my husband always wanted 5 kids, and he was like our 5th kid that we didn't really actually make. But it was a lot of work, and it was just a lot of fun working with him. And his friendship was one of my greatest treasures as a trustee. And I truly look forward to continuing to serve the students, the teachers, the staff, and the families at this board. So thank you.
Thank you. Brad, Trustee McDonald? Are you there? We're just gonna check. Oh, we're gonna plug him in. Give him a little shake. No, we can't, oh, yeah, well, no, we can't hear you yet. Brad, he's texting and asking. There you are.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can, Brad.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being patient with me here in Calgary. It's amazing. I'm coming to the end of 15 years, and that's really half of what you've done, Janet. I can't imagine. 15 years gone by so quickly for me, and 30 years, I can imagine, just flew by. You know, the four outgoing trustees, I'll start with Rick. You've always been a statesman. I think I've really appreciated your ability to think before you speak. You would review things, and when you did speak, you spoke in a very calm, direct, and factual kind of way that I think a statesman kind of eloquence is part of your vocabulary, and I really appreciated that around the board table. You brought a lot of good ideas and passion and support for your community especially, and I just hope I can do the same for my community as you've done such a great job for yours. Suzanne, I've really enjoyed, most of all things, your compassion. When you've been the vice chair, you bring that sense of the other person's, being able to put yourself in other people's shoes and hearing their story, hearing their vision, and bringing that into a group of trustees, all with their different opinions, and making it work. And that compassion has done a great job for you, and I know it's going to lead you to a great life and success after the board and whatever endeavor you will take on, and I can't thank you enough for that. Finally, Janet, you've been a leader. It's hard to believe you're kind of a newbie when I first joined 15 years ago as a lead, but absolutely you've done a remarkable job, and some of the traits of, you say, you weren't a leader, and I truly say you are, and some of the qualities that make that happen is there are differences in our group from over various issues, and one of the things a leader will do is bring people together and work through them, and try to de-escalate and allow people to have their voice heard, understand each other, and move forward. Without that kind of leadership, our board would have been dysfunctional, and I commend you on the 20 years of the great record of doing that kind of leadership, and leaves us in such a great place that we've heard in comparison to other boards in the province, in country as well. So thank you so much, and I know you will keep an eye on us, and we look forward to hearing some of your great wisdom as we go through the next 4 years, which could be a tumultuous one, certainly with, we hear the government looking at money. It's certainly going to be an interesting one, but I wish you the best, all four of you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this great opportunity, and with you with me. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Trustee Green.
Thank you. I just want to take this time, first of all, to give God thanks for the privilege and the opportunity to have worked and have served with a great board for the last 15 years that I've been at this table. And this board has ensured that no matter what we do, at the end of the day, this board stands together, because we always believe that we must ensure that our students are succeeding and achieving and reaching their full potential. Rick, I want to thank you for your friendship and for those times when I just needed a father to talk to, and you step up to the plate and you would say, David, you know, those moments means a lot to me, and I want to thank you. You know, so many times that your wisdom has played an integral part of decision that I would make. So thank you for that. Accurate, who sits beside me and who I had the opportunity to mentor. He's not here today, but I want to wish him all the best at City Council, and hopefully that he will do a great job, make us proud there. To my sister, to my friend, Susan, you know we got a thing, and it was a great privilege to work with you, and will continue to work with you, because we got work to be done in our community, because we don't need to be trustee to do the work that we do. And I know, I already see that start happening, and you are a true champion of our community and a woman of integrity. And I know I will miss you at this table, but as I said, our work together that we are embarking on in the community is vast. And it's going to be a long while. And I believe that together we will accomplish those tasks for our community and our children. And to Janet, when I first came to this board, for some reason, you just rubbed me the wrong way. And I got to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, after getting to know you, understand, you know, there are differences in life, and people have difference of opinion. And from time to time, we do have disagreement. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I really appreciated is the respect for each other. And that you would able to, many people who in your position would refuse to apologize when they're wrong. And I remember many times when we butt head at the board table, and butt head for the right reason, because it was all about our kids. You're fighting your cause, and I'm fighting my cause, what I believe in. And you would call me and you said, David, can we meet? Can we have coffee? Can we just sit down? And that's what I really appreciate about you. And at the end of the day, we normally leave having that respect for each other, that we can work together and ensure that what, at the end of the day, that our students are being put first. Your leadership, I have learned so much from you in terms of your leadership here at the board table. And myself, like Rick, who have traveled and represent this board across this country, out of the country, and I've learned from different leaders, I can say to you that you are a true leader. Because when the going get tough and the tough get going, you know how to pull the team together. And looking forward to a new board, that's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need a steady hand. Someone who know how to steer the ship through troubled waters. And I have learned some of those skills from you, and I want to thank you. And you know, also thank you for the opportunity that this board, yourself, allowed me to represent us at different levels of the government, able to chair different committees. I want to thank you for allowing me to take on those leadership roles, because those leadership roles have prepared me for greater things, the work that I have to do within my community. So thank you, and I want to say to you, I want to wish you all the best. You know, I look at Jeff and Beryl, who was one of my mentors when I got here. Still my mama. Every so often, she follow my tweets and she always say, "Good for you, David." And you know, so much respect for the trustees that I've worked with over the last 15 years, and to the new boards that's coming in. I look forward to working with you, and pray to God that we can steer the ship the way this ship has been steered for the last 15 years that I've been here, in the best interest of our students. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, David. Director Joshua.
Thank you very much. And I know that I don't think I could top Frank Sinatra or that beautiful poetry or the wonderful words that have been shared already. But I do want to take a minute on behalf of our senior administration here now and the many people that have been with us in the past who would join me, along with all of our staff across all of our sites. I'd like to take a moment and thank trustees Harkirat Singh, Vice Chair Suzanne Nurse, Trustee Rick Williams, and of course our wonderful Chair Janet McDougall for unbelievable leadership and commitment and dedication over the years to our children and our communities in the region of Peel. I heard some wonderful words tonight about certainly us being a family, a very connected family, and I have watched this board in my short time, but certainly have heard much as I was coming into this board and heard from many staff about the courage of this board. And thank you to the leadership of everyone around this table, those who are leaving and those who are staying. This is a courageous board who is willing to take something on, discuss it, make a decision in the best interest of our students. Student achievement and well-being is at the heart of everything you do, your discussions, your individual and collective decisions, and we want to thank you for that unwavering support for our students. As a staff, we feel very supported by all of you, and particularly the four of you who are leaving. We know that we'll continue to think about the support that you've given us in the field for our superintendents who work with you in schools, and for those of us who are charged with some decisions and direction at the board level, at a central level. We appreciate your questions, and we appreciate your willingness to support our recommendations and to push us when things aren't communicated properly. So we thank you for all of that. There are many reasons why we are the greatest board across the country, but I think it begins and ends with the heart of the people around this table. So on behalf of our administration, thank you to all of you. I know we have individual things to say to you, but we could be here for quite a while. So I'll leave it as a sincere thanks for the legacy that you leave, and I know Trustee Williams will make a commitment to, as a staff, to work with this board. Integrity, honesty, trust, and courage is everything, and we'll continue to do that in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. It was the kumbaya moment of the Peelschools School Board. But I think everybody has expressed themselves, and everything that they've said, I can endorse and tell you it's absolutely true. It is just such a privilege to be able to assist and support students and to work with amazing, dedicated, committed people. And I think that's what we're all saying. And so we who are leaving wish the board very well, and we will. I've already signed up for briefings, and just may show up here to see who's going to win this election on December the 3rd. But thank you so much for all of your support and all of your dedication to kids. It's such a privilege. It really is. Thank you. Okay, we got a couple of more things, and then unfortunately, you remember, we're going back into in-committee to finish that agenda. So, public question period. Oh, here we go. Okay, that's great. Come to the podium, please.
I'll be quick.
Oh, it's okay. You know, if you just happen to show up at the great celebration meeting.
Thank you, Director Joshua, for your response to our delegation. And just if there's a possibility to get a written transcript of that, if it's going to be in the minutes, or how does that? what's the mechanics of that?
So we do have the recording of the words that were used, and I believe that they'll be part of the minutes as well.
So, yeah, okay, so the written will be in the minutes. Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, we'll make sure that happens. Yes, sir. Welcome, if you could state your name, please.
It's Richard Edwards. Again, I just want to thank you, Madam Chair and Vice Chair, for your service to our community, to our children, and as well, Mr. Director, Joshua, and all those who are leaving. Thank you for your service, and those who remain. Senior admin staff, all of you, appreciate you. And I do have a concern I did want to address. It's not a statement, it's a question.
Sure, it's a question period.
Yeah. So, I have a couple of questions about the statement that Director Joshua has made. There are concerns that being, part of the community, being a pastor in the community, being what I would like to consider a faith leader and trying to be an example and trying to fight for our community and be a positive role model in the community. I think it's important that I do ask this question or these questions. Part of the statement is talking about inclusion and human rights and wanting to be and trying to influence or have some kind of influence in the community myself and trying to establish hardworking, productive, moral human beings, people, young people, kids, adults. I just want to try and figure out or try and understand how we can use the word inclusion, but also remove, because we are all human beings, we all have rights, we are spiritual in nature, and how can you remove spirituality or remove faith, or at least consulting faith based leaders, or not having to inform them? You said not necessary to inform or not necessary to consult, I believe are the words when it comes to human rights and inclusion. I find that surprising, but I'm not making a statement. What I want to do is ask the question, how can you make the statement of inclusion and exclude faith or religion, especially a very important human right is the freedom of religion. Very important to a human being, and very important to balance in that human being, very important to their state of mind. How can you exclude that from the education system? And the next question is, how can you exclude, like we've talked about, we've heard about today, about standing up for the children and looking out for the children. And one of the most important influences of our children are their parents. And so how can you say that you're being inclusive and not have to consult, not have to inform them about human rights, policies and issues? I find that a little concerning and a little shocking.
Okay, so I think I have the two questions, although they do overlap, but I think I have them. And I'm not going to avoid the questions, certainly, and the director will answer those questions, but I'm not going to do that at this time. I think Director Joshua has said that he will meet with you and talk about those particular questions. I think the idea of you getting a transcript of what the director said would be helpful so that we can all be on the same page and understand what we heard. I think that's important, and we are committed to answering your questions. We just can't answer that question or those two questions right now, tonight, from this board table. But want to satisfy that concern of yours. Okay, so will you hold that, we'll hold on to that, but will you hold on to that, and Director Joshua will speak to you.
Right, you mean
Okay.
after the meeting? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Okay, all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Public questions? Seeing none, would someone move adoption of, oh yeah, that's right, pardon me? Okay, sorry. Director Joshua says that I misspoke, which can happen. We are going back into committee to deal with the rest of our in-camera agenda, but Director Joshua will come and speak with you right now and determine a time that he can meet and answer those two questions. I think we need to look at the statement, and I think we need to make sure that we all understand what that statement meant, both legally and within the school board. Okay, so I can't adjourn, I can't do any of that because we're going back in committee, but thank you for your patience. It's, as usual, it's a long meeting, but I enjoy every second of it. So thank you for coming out. And administration, he's the boss, but I think if you aren't included in the committee, you can go home and do important things. Thank you. I have to do this one more time. There you go.